So Hospice Vaughan is a community support organization that provides meaningful supports to the residents of Vaughan as they're living with their serious life-limiting illnesses and as they're approaching their end of life.
Hospice Vaughan has been around a lot longer than most people understand.
It started from caring citizens that saw a need in the community. People were sick and dying, and there wasn't enough care for them to stay and remain in their homes, let alone to create access points for them. So the community started it because of the needs that they saw.
After my husband passed, I was struggling a lot, trying to find a way to deal with my life. So we asked my family doctor, and she told us about Hospice Vaughan, which I had never heard of. Now I'm so thankful that a place like Hospice Vaughan exists because I have found a way to still live a life.
I have multiple sclerosis, and I sometimes find it hard to walk. I live by myself. It can be difficult to even make something to eat. The love and support that I receive from hospice is unbelievable.
My father was technically in palliative care for a long time, for years, because he was diagnosed with a terminal illness. We really relied on the in-house palliative doctor to kind of give us the signal that, you know, we were in the final weeks. And so we were very happy that we had made that decision to kind of just transition into hospice when we did.
Our unit of care is the whole family, which is a very unique way of caring for anybody. We look at the psychological of the individual. We look at the social of the whole family, the practical side. There are so many things that change through the trajectory of an illness that we try to encompass all of them. Spiritual, transportation, things that can become a real issue. So our domains are not just disease management, but also the life and the humanity and that component of care that often gets overlooked.
I lost my daughter on January 9th of this year, would be 2017. Some people in this predicament will close themselves off to society, and I feel that's the worst thing you can do. You need to open up.
Within a very short period of time, I lost both my parents. I was having a hard time sleeping. I was having a hard time managing and providing support with children and just getting through my day-to-day routine. I felt like I was drowning like in a sea of grief. It was just difficult to get out of that. I needed some extra support. Hospice Vaughan gave me a safe place to talk to someone about my feelings and my experiences and what I was going through.
I lost my wife, and we didn't have any kids, so we were each other's world. To move forward was very difficult, and that's why it was so critical to have hospice acknowledge the extent of my world. Having that opportunity to share that with another human being, it was like a wave came over me of just release. Without it, I don't think I could have this conversation. I'm a work in progress.
Personally, I think it was a good idea of going there. It gave me the opportunity, myself and my wife, to meet other people in this community.
And they just love you. You know, the people there are so welcoming. So going to hospice now, it has changed him and changed me too. Because I too have things to do there. I may be his caregiver, but I participate in everything else too. So that helps me. I look forward to going there every Wednesday.
After my father passed, I think we were all sort of lost in our own way. My mother, as I said, was introduced to Hospice Vaughan, and once that introduction took place, it seemed to uplift her. It was very inspiring for her.
I never miss a day. I love to go. I couldn't wait to go. Even if I'm not feeling well, I push myself to go.
I've had 12 years in hospice, and it's probably the most meaningful work I've ever done. We have a caring community of professionals and volunteers that want to make a meaningful difference. We look at ways of building capacities, we set best practices, we look at ways to incorporate more programs and services that are meaningful to our community, and we really try to mobilize caring citizens to volunteer for hospices across the province and here in Hospice Vaughan.
And we've grown now to an organization that encompasses many volunteers. We now connect with all the other medical agencies in the area, as well as develop more awareness and education. So it's a wonderful organization that is growing exponentially to meet the needs in the community.
Hospice Vaughan is a key community player when it comes to delivering end-stage care for residents that need a different kind of environment than a hospital. We've known for a long time that there are many ways in which care can be provided. As we look at growing our services, we need to ensure that we are complementing those services with other types of end-stage environments.
The mere fact of being part of meeting with people, it helps to create in you a sense of belonging. If we are to live in this house, looking at the four walls of the room, you develop a sense of loneliness and selfishness. As a result of that, your life is short.
Everyone is so welcoming. People just want you there and they look forward to seeing you.
We didn't know what Hospice Vaughan provided. We didn't know what hospice was. Once we knew what it provided, it was like a gift from heaven.
The first initial meeting with my group, something happened that day. When you're in a room with other people of similar circumstances, it's very forward-moving. Having an organization like this in your community is integral to a well-balanced community. You won a lottery when you have a hospice near you, where you live.
You know, all the volunteers who work at this place, all the people who raise funds for it, it's such a necessary thing that I didn't even know was necessary.
For the individual, for the family, for the participants, there is no fee. There never is. We will work to provide as widespread a care and support as what we can, but there's never a fee to the family or individual.
I came here and they opened my eyes to see that I'm not the only one in this predicament. So that goes to show you that, you know, the best things in life are free, and hospice is one of those things.
Hospice Vaughan is on the verge of embarking on an ambitious expansion plan. There is no more universal need in healthcare than hospice palliative care. It's been estimated that only about 20% of us will need a psychiatrist in our lifetime. Only about 30% of us will need an oncologist in our lifetime, but 100% of us will need hospice palliative care. We are evolving into a full-fledged residential hospice and center of excellence.
Hospice Vaughan is just embarking on such an amazing journey. It's tremendous. This plan is not a new plan. This has been in the works for a long time. The gaps are deep, so how are we going to respond to those gaps? We're going to build our networks. We're going to build integrated programs. We're going to build current programs, and we're going to have this tremendous facility. The facility is going to provide meaningful support for those that are living and approaching end of life, to their caregivers. It's going to bring interprofessional teams together. It's going to validate what's the most important based on the community needs. And at the end of the day, it's going to cost the healthcare system less.
Our vision for Hospice Vaughan will be to create a more home-like setting, a very serene setting, very pastoral setting with gardens and therapeutic areas for patients and families, and it will allow patients and families to have the maximum amount of comfort, dignity, and quality of life, while at the same time allowing for patients to have the very best end-of-life experience that is available to us.
We have the comfort, care, and personableness of the home married with the important professional and supportive dignity of the medical profession. In a residential hospice, you get both.
They're going to have their medical needs supported, they're going to have their emotional bereavement and spiritual needs supported, and they're able to rest in peace with all the love around them. And families can shift. They can shift from being hands-on caregivers to just being their family.
The new building will help all aspects of the community, so it will definitely help those that are in palliative care. It will also help those family members that are supporting those particular individuals going through the palliative piece. Now that I've been introduced to hospice, I think it is a fundamental component of each and every community right across this country.
Everybody's entitled to a great birth. Everybody celebrates it, everybody rushes to the hospital. But at the same point, everybody's entitled to an even better death. I was always left a little bitter because I had parents who lived decent, honest, hardworking lives, that at the early ages in their 60s, to go out like that just didn't seem dignified. I could only envision if the residential component to Hospice Vaughan was there when I needed it, how much easier it would have been to deal with what I dealt with. Now that I understand what caring for a loved one means, I'm now really thinking for everybody else out there who has no clue what it's going to take for them to have to care for a loved one. Because at the end of the day, everybody will die at some point.
Hospice Vaughan needs a lot of help for this new building that they're putting up. And we should all try and help as much as we can.
We had the in-house volunteer come in a couple of times, and that was very valuable. So I thought, you know, she's helping now, maybe in the future that's something I can do for somebody else.
I really wanted to be involved in an organization that works so closely with our community, and I had heard so much about what Hospice Vaughan does with people who are dealing with grief or people who are dealing with the end of life. It's just really inspiring to go into the hospice and see how all the staff and volunteers make a difference every day, and so that's something I really wanted to be a part of.
Essentially, how I see it is like helping individuals come back to a space of wholeness. I feel that I'm there as someone who's just holding their hand to help them along their soul journey.
There's a lot of volunteers, there's a lot of staff, and they really provide their needs. Everybody's there, always attending with people.
All these clients have also told me how much they appreciate me and how much I have done for them. And I haven't done much other than been there to comfort them, to listen to them. Just being there, they are just so grateful, and it's just humbled me.
They've lost their loved one, so their heart is broken. And if I can mend and put a rainbow back of hope in their hearts, then I walk away fulfilled when I leave here.
Take the time to understand what Hospice Vaughan does for the community, because once you'll see who they touch, you will really understand the value that you will provide Hospice Vaughan by providing your time or any sort of donation. It really does impact the community, and it really does help the people that live in this community.
When it comes to supporting an organization like Hospice Vaughan, I almost feel this should be a default, whether it be through volunteering or financially, any which way you can.
When the people of this community band together, when they mobilize, when they work hard as they always do, that we collaboratively accomplish great things. The province will be there at the table supporting it, but it won't happen all on its own. It won't happen unless the people who are part of this community are working on this together. Together, we're going to make this happen.
Hospice Vaughan is really the manifestation of all that is wonderful and beautiful about humanity, people caring for people. Pain is not felt this hard when you have somebody there caring for you. We understand how painful this experience is. We understand how painful this loss is to you, because we all go through those difficult times. And we're very fortunate to have Hospice Vaughan there for us.
I think what's really important is that the hospice movement just continues to grow, and that we all are ambassadors of creating a kind, caring, and compassionate community. We all know what it feels like to be loved, and we all know what it feels like to love others. And hospice and your journey of life and your journey of death, really that's the focus. And building our relationships and building our supports is what we all have to strive for. And together we can do it, but we all have to be in it together and just keep it really simple.